Hello and welcome to today's reading. Today we are using How Humans Learn, the Science and Stories Behind Effective College Teaching by Joshua Eiler. And as always, all of the books or texts that are used in my readings are linked in the description box. So if you want to check out any of the materials we use today, you can go down there and see that. And we are on page 137. Conditioned fear responses, on the other hand, are learned behaviors that emerge from the interactions between external stimuli and our memories. If we are in bed sleeping, for instance, and hear a window break, our amygdala will take a leading role in connecting the stimulus with what our memories know about windows breaking in the middle of the night, and fear will result. It is important to note that the amygdala does not distinguish the reason for the window breaking, it simply responds to the stimulus. In this way, even conditioned fear responses have an evolutionary connection to our survival. It seems to me like you may be struggling with constantly being triggered by something, either in your environment or that you're choosing to engage with. This could be a friendship, certain groups of people, certain content online, books, media. Something in your environment, your immediate environment, is causing you to constantly be in overdrive. And you may have anxiety or struggle with anxiety. Or it could be a new phenomena to you. You may constantly feel like your heart is racing. You may feel like your blood pressure is high a lot more recently. You may even be experiencing blurred vision. And this is all caused by something in your environment that seems to you consciously to be very benign, something that you wouldn't really pick out on a lineup of something causing a trigger response in you. But there is something in your environment that is causing this response, and it's causing you to stay in a sense of fear, in this sort of flight or fight response. And it's creating this anxiety for you because it's constantly triggering these fears. From likely your childhood, there may be an association between the thing that you're doing or experiencing on a daily basis, I want to say, and things that occurred in your childhood. They could be simply tangentially related in that you didn't actually experience trauma from this thing directly. It could have been like the news or the TV was playing on the background, like a specific TV show, while you were being yelled at or shamed or something like that. And now having it in your environment again is bringing you emotionally back to that time when you were constantly experiencing that thing. That's just an example. It doesn't have to be that specifically, but there is something in your environment that is repeating from the past when you experienced some kind of trauma. And it is a repeated trauma I'm getting. So something that occurred a lot. It was more of a behavioral pattern of the people around you, not necessarily a one-off traumatic event. Not only is this causing this sense of anxiety or heightened state in your nervous system constantly, it's also affecting your ability to make judgments in all areas of your life. It's almost like your consciousness has shifted into looking for things to go wrong, looking for potential threats in your environment, which it does anyways, but more so than usual. And it's subtle enough that you aren't really aware of it. You may be seeing the effects of it now, but because it's cumulative, or maybe you've been getting feedback from people around you that you're different lately, or you just can't feel the same way you did about things before. You can just tell that something's off, but it's actually affecting your judgment in all areas of your life. So it would be really important and beneficial for you to do one of two things, preferably both. The first is figure out what that trigger is. If you can figure out what the trigger is, not only can you decide whether or not you want to keep it in your life, because it may be something that's beneficial to you, and you just need to pull it away from the emotional response. What you can do by doing the next thing is to figure out what you're being triggered into feeling. Finding the trigger itself may help. You do that because you may be able to draw more of a clear parallel if you know what the trigger is. But you can also follow the feeling itself. So even just the generalized feeling of discomfort or dis-ease or anxiety, you can ask yourself when you felt it most recently or when you felt it originally, when this feeling occurred in your life. And when you ask that question, don't ask it looking for the answer. Genuinely ask it, like, where did this come from? Because if you come from a place of hunting for an answer, you're going to create something to answer it, and it's not going to feel quite right. Whereas if you just ask it to ask out of curiosity, the answer will come to you naturally. You don't have to look for it. But once you figure this out, it would be a good idea to do some emotional work around this trigger and around this situation, because not only is it affecting you right now because of this trigger, it is likely that there are other things in your environment, or there may become other things in your environment that will trigger you to this same thing again. It sounds to me like I'm being shown that you've done a lot of emotional work already, so I think you know what to do with this. However, as you work on different layers of emotions, the most pervasive ones will rise to the top. This isn't always true, but in my experience, it is true for the most part. So as you peel back each layer, it becomes more and more subtle in your environment, but at the same time, you're much more aware of it. So this could be something you've been experiencing your whole life, and you didn't realize it because you hadn't done enough emotional work and connection work with your body and your mind and your emotional field to recognize the signs. So this might actually have been detrimentally affecting your life for a long, long time in different ways and at different periods, and you weren't able to recognize it then. The reason it's coming up now isn't because it's new, it's because you're aware of it now, because you've done the work to reattune to your emotional and mental and physical body, as well as you've peeled back some of the louder layers. So now you're getting into the more quiet, isn't quite the right word, but I'll say quiet layers now. Overall, this is really good and beneficial. It's kind of like just tweaking things so that you are more comfortable in your life, and that will allow you to experience more joy. It will open up your heart more, and it will open up your entire being to receive more energy, to be more alive, to be more excited, to be more present. I hope this made sense. I hope it resonated. Let me know in the comments if it did. I'd love to hear about your experience. Be sure to like this video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you do that, hit the notification bell and select all notifications so that you actually get updated every time I upload a new video. Until next time.